Okay, everybody, we are in our first game between Liquid and Puszek. We just saw Liquid take down the Outlaws with a 2-0 victory, and now they are finding themselves in the next round of the tournament. We're here at the HGC 2017 European Qualifier number 2, which means we have 4 teams that are already qualified for the league system next year. That's, of course, Dignitas and Fnatic as they attended BlizzCon, and the 2 finalists of the last qualifier, the first qualifier, which is to be determined, and the Misfits. Okay, I was struggling for a moment there. So in this tournament, we're going to find out the next 2 teams. And once again with Tetchan, we have a pretty fast draft here where teams are prioritizing, again, global ability and hating on the slug a little bit, which makes me personally a bit sad.
Yeah, especially seeing that it's TeamLiquid who banned him, considering that they quite like the slug. But unfortunately, in this case, not going to be making his way out of the hive for the moment. Just going to be staying at home along with ETC. He's taking a quick break from gameplay for a bit to retune.
So at this point, Towers of Doom, our first map, that's going to be interesting. We're looking forward to that. And there it is. All right, Tacita plus Tracer. Yeah, the party has just started, and we did it last time. I feel we have to keep the tradition up.
No, we don't.
It was awesome. All right, let me try it.
Okay.
It's not a frog in a bubble.
That's good. You realize that the second... Okay, put it this way. I will start doing it every time it's picked once Reinhardt's in the game, because then I will, ask the same of you.
All right. I can do that. That's totally fine. So you keep up with the Tracer. If we ever get Reinhardt, I'm going to go full German on him.
Excellent.
That's absolutely okay. So, Tacita Tracer with a Brightwing. Liquid knows that. They have already a false set drafted, so against Tracer, a couple of auto attack heroes would definitely do them, would help them a lot. But yeah, I mean, the name of the game is already quite obvious. Tracer is going to try and annoy the backline as much as she can, trying to go for these plays. Liquid, of course, going to attempt to lock them down as much as they can, banning out the Li Ming for a couple of reasons. First of all, the poke with her is absolutely insane. Tracer usually creates a lot of space for your own backline, so the Li Ming, for example, could capitalize on that space and get her skills in, be very, very safe doing it. But yeah, this is Towers of Doom, so global mobility could be a thing. We have seen a lot of players around the Haka on this map as well, especially after BlizzCon. So let's see how Puszek is going to use that, and also what Puszek is banning out, considering that we have the tank choices already. Well, I guess this is a bit tricky at this point for them. Johanna here also gets, by the way, quite a bit of value thanks to her interrupt potential.
Indeed, Zarya also decent against the Tracer here. Very hard to really get a good engagement on Tracer due to Zarya just dropping a shield on whoever you fight. And because Tracer's damage is really over time, you're very unlikely to get it all off in time before the shield goes down. So either way, Darius is going to keep building stacks. So a very solid ban by Puszek here.
Liquid. Frontline is what they're going to looking at. So they're going to look for their first frontliner, and we are most likely going to see them. Well, actually, let's think about that for a second. Again, I could see one of the teams going for the Haka, but it's not one of those picks that you necessarily have to take. I'm actually really curious how they play it. So far, they haven't really revealed too much. A Muradin would be good. A Johanna is good for the front line. If they want to, they could play with the melee assassin. They have, first of all, a bit of ranged assassin damage in there with Gul'dan now taken. Wave clear, poke, he has it all. And also good Horrify can wreck Tracer if you react fast enough. So that's always a game winner. But yeah, yep. Liquid, very likely I feel to pick their front line up now.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely someone to definitely need a tank before Puszek get rid of one, because ETC already banned out. So grabbing something right now would be especially good for them, just to limit Puszek as well. Taking their time with it though. There's the Muradin, so just going for a bit more sustain here as opposed to someone like Johanna to clear the waves or blind the Tracer.
Puszek, on the other hand, they have like two choices. They can go for Ethereal or they can go for Johanna. I think I highly doubt that we're going to see any of the other tank options here. I mean, we had a couple of plays with like Stitches on this map, but not necessarily with that kind of damage dealer. If you have the double support option at this point, the lockdown potential is a little bit more tricky. You need to really rely heavily on the force wall plus a polymorph if you want to keep a target in. And then Tracer, would need a very heavy second damage dealer next to her if you are trying to really capitalize on the hooks in that regard. Normally you combo it more off with Furion or an additional stun, so that's a bit less likely. So I assume it's going to be probably either the Johanna as one of the tanks or the Tyrael. But first of all, they're dropping the Haka. I actually have seen the Haka solo tank.
So have I. We saw it a little bit last time, and it was a mixture between very effective and not effective at all in the couple games that we did see it. But I agree with you. I was actually going to make a joke here about if they wanted to maybe just go all in on protecting Tracer and go Stitch's Medivh. But definitely not happening now, and it was never going to happen anyway. But right now, already with the Haka, I doubt they're going to want to go double tank. They probably want maybe a bit more damage, but we are seeing a lot of reliance on Tracer as like the solo damage dealer at the moment, so we may see a second tank to help out the Haka here.
Yeah. Okay, Samuro, again. I can see that together with like, I mean, if you play the Haka as a solo tank, then you want to have something that can help him out at the front line a bit, and oftentimes in the past we've seen a tank chosen together with a Thrall, for example. Samuro, with the mirror images that he has, is definitely in a situation in which he can create a lot of confusion and also a lot of like targets to click. So I feel in this case that can work for them. It also is very annoying with the interrupts.
It's true. Dropping those illusions, you have to clear them up before you can finish capping anything if they're dropped into the right position. I'm curious whether we will see a Illusion Master play, once again, avoiding the possible bug, or whether we're once again going to see another Blade Storm, because it was relatively effective last time, and Team Liquid finishing up with a solo laner, bringing out that Alarak.
That Alarak already switched the chibi to Alarak a little bit earlier, calling down my prophetic skills. So Alarak is being used right now for the silence opportunity, of course, too. So guys, Liquid versus Puszek here with the first draft. Definitely an interesting draft for Puszek here with the Haka plus Tracer plus also the Samuro. Liquid a bit more traditional, having a solo frontliner, but playing it with Alarak on top of that, and very nice backline damage. Tracer, of course, is once again going to be a huge focus for both of the teams. Liquid will have to try and shut her down, whereas Puszek is relying very heavily on her getting the damage in. Towers of Doom is the map, so let's jump in and find out which one of the teams takes the lead in this best of 3 series. Okay, boys and girls, game number 1 in the best of 3 series between Team Liquid and Puszek team. So we have the Polish team facing Team Liquid now. To the left side, Falstad, led by Sport Billy. We have Shat on Alarak, very determined to Alarak his opponents. Poik on Gul'dan, Zico on Murdin, and Gert am Herd once again with Malfurion. And to the right side, we have once again the Way of the Blade as Uberim is playing Samuro, Go Terra on Dehaka Shakalaka, and Olok on Brightwing with Triply on Tracer, and Toulouse on Tassador. So, a switch in builds on Samuro already as is going into this first game of the best of 3 series here at the HGC 2017 qualifier. Because this time we have the focus on the critical strike again, deviating a bit from the build that we've seen used in the last team that Team Liquid faced, which was of course the Outlaws.
Yeah, this build is very much more down to burst potential. Getting yourself onto an enemy very quickly and trying to work them down by just getting more critical strikes so you can wipe them off the map, as opposed to the previous build we saw on the last Samuro, which was very much about consistent damage to try and wipe someone up and giving the illusions a little bit more damage themselves while Samuro was busy spinning.
When it comes to the rest of the talents, it doesn't really reveal anything shocking. We have Sport Billy again with that more bursty build going into the Gathering Storm. We are also seeing now the Echoed Corruption. We have a third win for Muradin, which was in the last few games also the preferred talent on the side of Team Liquid. Oftentimes we see a blocking here. We've seen a lot of like perfect storms taken to just increase that burst potential slightly. Alarak hasn't made his choice yet on level 1 though.
Time.
Excuse me?
Taking his time, thinking about it.
Yeah.
There are a couple options. He's definitely not taking any stacking ones.
Yeah, I mean, like at this point, that's basically the only thing that you already can tell about that. But when you look at the side of the opponent for just a moment, the Primal Aggression for the wave clear is already in there, and we have also Tracer rounds for the visibility, which has proven to be extremely useful. Several kills have gotten by Tracer just getting the talent, providing vision over walls. Oh, Shat up at the top. Yeah, trying to... What? No way!
He picked Applied Force mid-engage to push himself out. That was awesome.
Shad, you beast! Picks the talent with a quick pick hotkey, pushes himself out of harm's way. That was insane.
That was very impressive. But Team Liquid only just hitting their level 4 talents. However, they are right now in control of the top shrine. They're going to grab that, so it's going to be even. However, Talu driving Team Liquid off that mid shrine. Ziku will delay it though, and as such, the team will begin to rotate. We're going to see a fight over this middle shrine. Samuro coming down. He's going to be late, but it does mean this may potentially be a 5v5 in the mid lane. But both teams attempting to soak XP as well.
I still can't get past how well Shad played in that situation and avoided the gank. But we have interesting talents picked on level 4 now. We have Hero Stalker taken first of all. It's not going for the Essence collection through minion kills, but instead it is the takedowns that will supply it. And we have again Mirage taken, which is probably the more common talent in this build. And yeah, there's a double combo already. Shad already showcasing quite nicely here which hero or which player we have to watch out for in this game.
Yeah, that's probably a fight ender. The two healers both dropped too low. Uberim trying to delay, but Sportbelly positioned himself to make sure that he took the aggro of the illusion. As such, the second altar of the game is going to be picked up by Team Liquid.
Sportbilly and Shad currently on their way to soak experience up at the top. The altars, as we said, in favor of Team Liquid now. They were able to get 8 shots in total against 4. So far, the game is starting off nicely for them. It's also a fair amount of stacks that we already see on the side of Gul'dan. He's at 11 at this point, 3 minutes in. Could be a bit more, of course, but especially the fights over the objective is going to help him a lot to get that stack process going as fast as possible.
Some of the other patterns we should be expecting on... Oh, hang on, we're going to quickly buy off that as we do see the teleport in with the help of that peekaboo, which is going to drive Team Liquid off this objective, but they're keeping it aggroed. They still want to cap it, but right now, 4 heroes down here to try and steal this. Ziku moving in, Falstad positioned very well to try and deny this. Brightwing returning to her team. Rodin trying to delay it, but no, it is stolen. Nicely done there.
One of the biggest problems that they had was that Falstad was split from the rest of the team, and there's only a few options that he has. He can sacrifice a barrel roll cooldown and try to position himself a bit better. Risks, of course, to being stopped and taken out there. Sportbilly wasn't really willing to make that happen, so now they lost the camp, have to defend it. We have 7 talents coming into play for both of the teams now. With again, Kala's Embrace, we're seeing also the Spatial Echo, and we have the Cleanse now taken. Parting Gift after Tracer rounds, pretty much standard what Kalisa is doing here. Sportbilly flying into the back. Shad is still surviving up here at the top, so far evading all of the ganks, but Sportbilly just flying in and then saying like, dude, you know what, you're on your own, like, I'm out of here.
Yeah, he's rotating back down to the mid lane. Samuro also rotating around. He did take Burning Blade as his level 7, so he is getting that AoE damage to try and help push the lanes, and is still chasing Sportbilly, trying to get some damage onto him. Drops the illusions to harass Sportbilly out as the altar does spawn. Orlok trying to grab that, but completely controlled by Liquid as they finish the cap on that. Sportbilly getting zoned out, and that will be the second altar going over to Puszek team.
Yeah, so both teams grab one of the altars, so we have still that 4-shot difference between the two of them at the altar damage. We also have Boomerang now taken. We're seeing again the Endless Energy. We've seen that before. We have the Bound by Shadow. So basically it's all about the cooldown corruption that we have on the side of Gul'dan, which is pretty much the norm here. Trying to, of course, complete that quest talent. We have 26 stacks already as is, and then getting the cooldown reduction in allows you to spam it out a little bit more often. Damage potential here is very nice from that back line. But we have already seen how especially Tracer and Samuro are applying a lot of pressure on the backline themselves. But this could really backfire. This time a camp gets stolen away, and also a kill with Brightwing taken out, which is actually the first kill in the game.
Yeah, Team Liquid showing, yeah, you want to raid our camps, we're going to raid your camps and also kill you because you're going to stay too long. And they do just that. In the meantime, though, Samuro is still continuing to pressure Shad, which is a bit of an issue for Team Liquid. But with that objective capture and the push that came out of it, they were able to put themselves back even on XP again, as they were losing a bit thanks to the Samuro soak there.
Team Liquid in general has a really huge drive to get these camps, as we can already see. Sportbilly putting the pressure on Uberim, yeah, revealing him here, and gets a lot of damage in. Wow! Shed is not able to close the distance fast enough to capitalize on it. Nice evade on the drag, but now Shipley is there. Oh, again the telekid. Shed just doesn't die. Like, what the hell?
He should have died there. He was way too far forward, but he escaped Dahaka, going for Sport Billy instead of Shad. Sport Billy also able to escape. Just the split focus there from Puszek team denies them both of those kills.
But Shad should have died already like 4 times in this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
He always gets away. Boom, telekinesis is himself out of the way and then is completely safe here. Re-engages just in time for the objective to spawn. I mean, that's pretty impressive. The ults are in, and that means we have now Illusion Masters taken, the Counter-Strike, we have once more Twilight Dream, and both of the teams looking for an opportunity to grab the next altar here at the bottom of the map.
That is also already fully stacked with Endless Energy, however, not so lucky for Malfurion, who is focused out. Actually, no, he lives! Drops the Twilight Dream, prevents the extra chase, and drops a big amount of damage onto Uberim. And now we are seeing Puszek team pulling back to their own bush, where they're a little bit safer. Ziku being the focus. A lot of damage onto the Dahaka here, who does stay alive, gets a good amount of healing, and they're trying to take down Ziku.
Yeah, Samura in the backline, on the other hand, is already applying the pressure to get again. Zico himself is low, but that fight is still continuing. And as we are seeing the trade starting to kick in on Muradin, he is going to have that sustain. Again, the interrupt against all Orkun's Brightwing is still attempting to channel through. Muradin is moving in now as well. Together with Volstad, they're locked down against Tracer. Down she goes. And that's most of the range damage gone. Well played here by TeamLiquid as they secure another 4 shots against the opponent's core.
Yeah, but we are seeing Puszek team attempting to make the best out of it. They sent Gotera up the top to soak some XP, and he's also going to grab a Mercenary camp here unless Sport Billy can stop him. But they're still trying to, even though they're losing the fights, gain as much XP as possible to keep themselves in it. And as such, they are staying on even terms with TeamLiquid here.
Yeah, it's a very kill-poor game as well. Like, there's not really a lot happening in terms of hero deaths. Only 2 kills thus far. And that was, of course, the isolation of Brightwing a bit earlier over the camp that has been fought over, and Tracer now. So at this point, TeamLiquid is taking a slight lead in experience, has a chance to maybe make a play down here for that bell tower. Nice! Polymorph is interrupting it just before it hits. And as we see the top lane being pushed, Liquid is starting the rotation, having Sport Billy over there together with Chat trying to defend it. There's a lot of pressure from Puszek, just trying to make sure that if they lose a bell tower, that they get some counter value at the top lane.
Yeah, and they're doing a good job of it for the moment, but the core health speaks for itself. Doesn't matter how much pressure you put on the lanes, if your core falls first, then you lose the game. And that's what makes this map so important, to control the objectives as opposed to the split pushing. The split pushing is just gaining advantages while by grabbing those bell towers. For the moment, we are seeing the Mercenary camp getting killed off.
While we, by the way, have now the situation happening with Samura here again, I want to just quickly talk about what we had happening in the last qualifier and also clarify the situation here. So during the last qualifier, there was a bit of an issue because of the heroic ability that Samura can use here with his Illusion Master. And if you self-cast that ability, you heal your illusions up. And there was a big argument if that's actually a bug or if it's an intended mechanic, and there were good arguments being made for both sides, especially after level 20, that can become a big issue. As Shad might finally die. Come on.
Not yet though. There we go. Finally.
Okay, so
perfectly dropped.
So with Shad going down here and Puszek grabbing a slight advantage before the temple, let's come back to this. So there were good arguments to be made for both sides, but it might be just a mechanic or why we have it as a bug in the game. The admins back then decided to let the game count, but the mechanic is still banned out. The developers have to have their say in that and have to say, okay, this is something we intended to do, or this is something that is actually not working as originally designed. So right now, that's something to watch out for. Samura is not allowed to self-cast here and heal his illusions with that, just in case you guys were wondering watching this game.
We did just see Puszek grab another altar there, sneaking that away while TeamLiquid were just chasing, hunting for kills, and that puts them only 4 shots behind TeamLiquid. So, very nicely played by them. They were also able to keep everyone alive. Tassadar with a good dupe, pretending he was heading back towards his base, instead headed down towards bot lane to dodge out of Muradin, who is chasing him down for the kill. And also another thing worth pointing out once again, to attempt to counter Tracer and just attempt some extra time so they can kill a bit quicker, we have Dissonance on the Alarak. Less damage, but it puts them in a better position to attempt to burst it down.
Forza, the top lane is already getting dragged, by the way. Sport Billy is trying to escape here. Silence now on top of that too, the isolation. Oh, and that's a cooldown and a kill. Short cooldown, of course, just a minute, but that was very unfortunate for him here. Getting the isolation hitting you makes that whole thing a little bit trickier. But down at the bot lane, we have a bit of a counterplay happening. Still the Haka making that a very uneven fight, and this is ending up with Liquid maybe losing even another hero.
Puszek attempting to flee, the illusion chase him down, but good positioning by Ziku is able to keep him alive. But yeah, you mentioned that making it a bit more difficult, but I think Dread described it perfectly at BlizzCon. Just the worst feeling when you are in a game is telling your team over comms, just like, guys, I died. And they're like, okay, it's fine. And I blew Gust. And then it's just like, oh, okay.
Well, they have it back in a few seconds, just in time for those altars. So that, I feel, makes it still okay. Yep. We have 16, not there yet, so we should at least the original altar fights still have them on the same talents.
Yeah, it's the joy of those shorter cooldowns. Stuff like Mosh, it's devastating, but Gust, you are allowed to blow Gust. You don't have to wait for that perfect Gust. If you want to use it to try and disengage or just set up something, as long as you have it later on for an objective, that is completely fine, and it's what Billy does here. Gotera grabbing the right-hand top one, Falstad grabbing the top left one. We are seeing Liquid at the moment in control of bot, but Gotera denying that with the drag.
Yeah, and 16 will be there very, very soon. So now Liquid still a bit in the lead when it comes to the points on the core. But that is changing now as we have Puszek equalizing the core hit points. Thanks to this, they have the earlier level 16 talent as well. And after we saw Shikuchi already chosen for Blade Master, we have now the Harsh Winds once again. So yeah, 16 talents soon for both teams. And the game is absolutely dead even. With maybe a lead for Puszek, you can always argue that the top lane damage that was dealt out against the bell tower is going to give them a slight lead so that they can grab this whenever they want.
Rodin attempting to steal the camp over a good silence onto Tracer, forces her back, and once again Liquid able to steal the objective. Question is, will they get a team? The silence is denied by the Burrow. Gotera getting body blocked hard though. No way he's getting out of there alive. And he does in fact go down, and Liquid once again stealing a camp and getting the kill. This is very much a cursed camp for Puszek team.
Yeah, dodging the silence here was definitely a nice touch, and that was a huge cooldown that was blown, but the body blocks were enough to secure the kill. And that allows now for a bit of pressure at the bot lane, getting the bell tower. At the top, of course, Uberim is currently trying to do the same thing. He will eventually succeed, but we see them escorting now those minions at the bottom, and maybe getting another kill here as they're jumping straight on Brightwing. Great move with the Storm Ball in the immediate combo of Alarak, securing a second kill and getting even more momentum on the map. Yes, they lose the bell tower at the top, but they can always reclaim this. Liquid finding themselves again in a bit of an advantageous situation.
Yeah, and we're actually seeing Team Liquid setting themselves up to try and gank Puszek team when they try to defend, to de-push this. Taluth looks like maybe the sacrificial lamb here. He takes a bit of damage. Oh, revealed by Oracle. Shad wants him anyway, though. There's the root, there's the silence. The damage is good. He's gonna survive, though. The poison, not enough. He's able to shield himself.
Chico missed the Storm Bolt. It was the final thing. If he gets the Storm Bolt in, then there's a very high chance that they just follow it up and take the kill. But yeah, he loses out on that. Now we're having also the quick mine taken, by the way, the Ruinous Affliction, heavy impact, tenacious roots. The 16 towns for both the teams, of course, been in play, with Terra getting another camp up at the top. Liquid still struggling to reclaim the bell tower over here, but Billy should eventually be able to take that down. But we have Uberim attempting to interrupt the Shrine Channel, and he's able to do that. So if Falstad gets it first, and he does, we will see 4 shots fired against the core on the side of the Puszek team.
It's just free. Wasn't in time.
Wow, really? It did not get...
Oh no, wait, it was 4 including the bot one, but they didn't get the one from the top lane, from what it looked like.
Okay, that was a bit of a miscommunication then, but you're right. They should actually be 2 points on the core ahead, and they're only 1, so the top one did not count, even though he must have... I mean, that must have been like half a second later.
I think it was pretty instant. Like, I saw the bell tower explode, but obviously there's the delay on the animation for the shots being fired. So yeah, I guess it was already captured. Just slight mistiming there by Liquid, but they kind of had to go for that right then anyway, because of how much pressure they were starting to get from Puszek.
Yeah. So we still have a very even game. Also an experience. I mean, like, they're heading into 20, and both of them are just looking at it and saying, guys, just 1 kill, 1 good fight, 1 good objective, take the lanes, try to get the try to get the 20, and of course keep an eye on the boss the entire time, especially with Samuro in play here. So bot lane, that's where we have another camp taken. They're trying to reclaim a bell tower. Samuro is at the top lane. He's been more or less split pushing half the game. He has 105,000 siege damage.
Yeah, and those are mostly just his clones doing that. Dahaka is actually up there as well, pushing too. But with Sportbilly up here, that is going to be deep pushed. And as such, bot takes a bit more damage than top, but both have been pressured. And we're going to see Frizz attempting to take that objective, and they're finally going to get it without a TeamLiquid raid.
Yeah, so we have also Uberim switching positions a bit. With the Haka at the top lane, he has the mobility thanks to the global, so they switched up the way that they were laning this. And we have in the mid lane instead now Samuro. He has a bit more of an opportunity to move into the middle or up to the top, depending on the situation that occurs. Altars are spawning again in 15, which leads to a level 20 on the side of TeamLiquid, just in time for this to happen. We will probably see it for Puszek too, but there's a small chance that we will have an advantage for the blue team here. They have their 20s right now with the Epic Mount. That's a big deal. And again, we have the hasty bargain taken with now also a Haunt for Gul'dan. They're starting to make the play, but both teams are on 20, and that gives us for Samuro the Windstrider.
Yeah, he's trying to just get that super speed. Dahaka burrowing to give his team time to catch up. He gets silenced, but the shield from Khaldor is good, keeping him alive, as well as the storm shield from Brightwing. So right now we are seeing them stay alive, but Jesus, that damage from Gul'dan wipes out the clones and is seriously weakening Dahaka.
Clones are back in though, and Dahaka actually dodging the stun on Muradin's jump. That was really important. He could have fallen there. Zico is now incredibly low. Tracer was also in the backline attempting to just pressure Sportbeat as much as possible. Barely eased out of there, but the kill against Samuro is a big deal. It could also result in another kill against Dahaka, and it actually does. That should be at least a bell tower or a boss. They can really make whatever play they want at this point. They will definitely secure themselves this particular altar, and it feels like they are trying to get another shot out of the bell tower at the bot lane. They take the camp, they guard the bell tower, and there's only one reason to do that. You want to make sure you get the additional shot in after taking down the bot lane.
Very likely here, and I will say that was a perfect fight by TeamLiquid. They put themselves in a position where they were able to catch Samuro, they dropped the stun, and Gul'dan dropped the full poison, which was enough to be lethal on Gul'dan if he didn't get help. As such, both supports immediately turn... Oh, that, once again, not going to survive. Wow, that damage on a Tracer, but she has to pull back here. But at that point, both the supports came down from the mid lane hiding area they had to try and help Samuro. He died anyway, and Malfurion just blinked into them and silenced both with the Twilight Dream, and that put them in a good position. TeamLiquid not able to get bot lane like they wanted, but they still get the shots. Yeah,
they get the shots, but they might lose scared if they're unlucky. Okay, there's the E. That is getting a bit tricky. Once that they realized that they would lose a hero, and they knew that the Haka, upon being resurrected, would immediately burrow in, they said, okay, we cannot wait for the bot altar to drop. It is going to drop. We're going to get that bell tower, but we cannot wait that long. We have to take it now, and they did. They have 5 shots ahead right now. They have the bell tower, but Shat dying there, that was a very big deal. It was a great play by Tracer to pursue that long enough. Pushbly with that win, or with that kill, did definitely give them a bit of a ticket back into the game.
Yeah, they did that very, very effectively. Sportbilly was thinking about taking the camp, but no vision, not worth the risk. Brightwing and Tracer are all up here, as well as that the real Samuro. No, it is just a clone chasing down Sportbilly. But the harassment is still enough to force him off that camp. We're not seeing it yet being taken by Puszek, but they are set up to try and get some harassment with Sportbilly. That grenade not on target.
Yeah, definitely not. Sportbilly would most likely have survived, I feel, though. He got immediately healed by Gerd, so there was enough play, I feel, to make him survive that. They take another camp. Bot lane has been reclaimed, which means the Haka is also free to move to the top again. But the camp has taken. Combo is hitting. The Haka is in there. Is immediately trying to go for the drag. Doesn't happen against Muradin. Not really the target that he would want here. The lower potential is very low. But we have in the backline again Samuro clones starting to move in. 2 altars active on the map, and this is really down to the wire now. We are 21 minutes in. Both of the teams are on level 21, so the death timers are very high. Toulouse taking a ton of damage here from Gul'dan.
Yeah, Khaldor just destroying everything right now. Tracer getting engaged upon. She needs to rewind. No, just completely denied by the stun lock. Immediately wiped off. And now we see TeamLiquid fully engaging, trying to take down Orlok. Swampily flying from grabbing their ulti. And they move immediately onto Puszek, take down Brightwing. And Muradin is going to engage hard here. More to delay so they can grab the shrine than anything else. But damage is great. Oh my god, the Horrify. It's only the clones. No, it's the real one. Why did he do that? He's gone.
Really well done. I love how we also saw the silence from Gad. This is going to be game. Gad using the silence against Brightwing before Brightwing can actually use Blink Heal. Then the Haunt to eliminate also Samuro. Great play by Liquid. They pick up both of these. And now, of course, that's the last-ditch attempt by Puszek to somehow save the boss and therefore the game. It's already too late. 3 points on the core, -4. That is putting the core down, and this is the lead for TeamLiquid in the best of 3 at the HGC 2017 qualifier. Second game, second map. Sky Temple is being played now, so we could again see a focus on global abilities here. Liquid playing against Puszek, and Towers of Doom was definitely a bit of a closer map, but right now the draft is starting and TeamLiquid has first pick, first ban at this point. So I'm pretty excited for this. Again, TeamLiquid, looking at the bracket, has a bit of a rough ride today. Every single team that they face is a team they should beat, but it's also a team that can give them a lot of trouble, and we can definitely see upsets here. These are definitely games that we have to a large extent on eye level, and we've seen a huge amount of threat against TeamLiquid. They have been a team for quite some time that has been discussed in the European scene as being weaker, not really finding their stride, having problem to complete their roster, and that has been going on for long parts in 2016. So now they are trying to qualify for HGC 2017, and it's not easy. They lost in the first qualifier. Now in the second one, on the other hand, they are in the second round. They are in the lead against Puszek. And in terms of bans on the map, we have once more ETC banned out, Malfurion banned out. We oftentimes see that, and Liquid highly prioritizing that Brightwing this time to have the global presence for Sky Temple.
Yeah, Sky Temple is a map very important to have that global presence, as it's an insanely tall map. Like, the lanes themselves lengthwise aren't huge, but the height of the map, just getting from one side to the other, can take a huge amount of time, and as such, we're probably quite likely to see the Falstad once again being picked. He's been in every game so far. It's probably not going to change anytime soon.
I would, yeah, like, when we're talking about heroes that I would expect here, I would still believe that going into a Dehaka play, is very likely. Get those globals into play. Give me that Dehaka. There he is, so that timing was perfect. We can see the Falstad again. I would expect Hikers to also be one of the ranged assassins that is being chosen in this setup. One hero that we haven't really seen too much in the games that we have casted today, but that usually is preferred oftentimes. I would like to see something building, that's Falstad, kind of what we were talking about. I would like to see something along the lines of Tyrael again. I would really love, Tracer. Look at that, TeamLiquid saying, boys, you did a good job with that, but we will do better.
You call that a Tracer? This is a Tracer. They won't be able to see a complete mirror matchup though, due to the Dehaka being on the side of Puszek this time, and other than that, pretty much identical. Muradin getting banned out, though they don't want that strong tank to go over to TeamLiquid. But TeamLiquid, they do now have solid bans in terms of what they want to remove in terms of support, so they can create a bit of support choke, because Puszek banned out the Malfurion on themselves at this point.
Liquid could definitely now simply say, okay, what are we going to ban in this case now? Because, well, there's a couple of things. If you, for example, start drafting something like a Morales, which we have seen a bit more often, Tracer is going to be able to give her a lot of trouble. So you kind of want to avoid that a bit. And instead, Liquid right now just says we don't want to deal with the shields. That's something that they're a bit afraid of here. I don't really think that any kind of support that can be picked at this point is going to make them worry too much. If there's going to be an Oriel, Tracer should be able to deal with that. We could see, of course, a Rhaegar, depending on how exactly they want to play it. But I don't really feel like support is necessarily the biggest problem they have. But Zarya feels, of course, like a bit of one of these immediate levels. So giving the shields out, that's something where Tracer's ult, for example, can completely be ruined, and you want to avoid that. Puszek, with their tanks up at the front, ETC banned, Muradin banned, they go for Johanna. This is smelling more and more like we're going to see a Tyrael this game.
Yep, probably limiting TeamLiquid quite significantly here. But for Puszek, the Johanna makes a lot of sense, getting those blinds onto Tracer. Another, in terms of their supports, Ariel can offer a blind as well if they want. They could go for a Lili, but we've only really been seeing that against Illidan's quite a bit lately, because Illidan is guaranteed to be one of the closer targets, so you're guaranteed to hit him with the blind. But they still have plenty of options. Rhaegar, just to give the burst healing to try and protect heroes from Tracer, is also a potential option.
Like, with the draft shaping up like this, I feel one of the heroes that I'm not going to get to see, which makes me a bit sad, is Zeratul. I was really hoping for Sky Temple maybe giving us Zeratul again. He's oftentimes played here together with the Jaina, even just him alone, and the newly more aggressive style on Zeratul, with just having the mobility talents a little bit faster, is something that I highly enjoy to watch. But Puszek is going for Sylvanas. I would not really think that a Zeratul would fit in either of these compositions as well. So we might see him a little bit later today. Puszek still going for a bit of the auto attack damage, having also, of course, the silence in. That's another like big deal against the Tracer. If you hit it properly, it's always a bit of a risk that she ease away before that actually hits. But there's an Illidan driving that even faster, and now the Tyrael. It would be surprising to me if we don't see Tyrael with this. This is like a great comp. Tyrael is in, shields on him, shields and Brightwing, Tassadar heals, Tracer for a lot of the damage, having also then Illidan to drive this entire thing. This is a great and very aggressive composition that Liquid plays now.
Yeah, bringing out that Lili. Like we said, we mostly see it against the Illidan, but in this case, the damage dealers, Tracer and the Illidan, are guaranteed to be closer, so the Lili makes a lot more sense than maybe someone like Ariel, who's going to be put in danger quite a significant amount. The healing won't be as much, but hopefully the blinds denying both of the main damage dealers of Team Liquid will be enough for Puszek. That is at least what they are hoping, but we will see if it works for them.
Liquid versus Puszek, ladies and gentlemen, so let's find out who's going to take it here. Team Liquid is in the lead. A 2-0 would catapult them into the next round of the tournament. Let's find out who takes it on Sky Temple. Game number 2, everybody. We are back to business here at the HGC qualifier for 2017. To the left side, we have a very aggressive composition with a lot of sustain drafted with Sport Billy on Tassadar. Team Liquid playing it with Shiku on the Tyrael. Gerd Amherd on the Brightwing, Shad on Illidan. I'm already scared about that. And we have Poik on Tracer. There was a time when Poik was relatively known for his Tracer plays, and it got banned out against him in his solo plays in Hero League nearly every game. To the right side, their Polish opponent, the big Napierdalai with Uberim on Falstad, Gotera on Dehaka, Shibli on Sylvanas, we have Olog on Lili, and Taluf on Johanna. Quite a few heroes that are decent against the composition that Liquid has drafted here, but we have some excellent players on key heroes for Team Liquid, especially with Poik on Tracer and Shad on his hero that should be able to give them a bit of trouble. And their mount game is on point with a double pick already early on in the game.
Mount game is very good. They're trying to chase down immediately Puszek, who tried to push with Sylvanas. Tower, not actually grabbed, but it's low enough that they can just walk in and cap that whenever they want here. But some of the talents, very peculiar here. We are seeing Brightwing with the unfurling spray as opposed to the teleport, not going for the shield for Tracer or Illidan, just going for healing for the entire team, which hopefully will combo quite well with the Sanctification. And we have Lili with the Gale Force here, wanting to be spamming out that W as much as possible to get the extra damage.
Lili definitely with a bit of an adjustment here. Oftentimes when we see Lili these days in any kind of setup, we see her with a full focus on the Serpent build. Right now, we have Sylvanas value for Puszek, and we definitely need to talk about her. The composition that Team Liquid plays is going to excel later on in the game. It's going to get stronger and stronger and stronger, especially to Illidan, going to gain a lot of momentum. Level 10s will give them a lot of potential playmaker abilities where they can then try and dodge these interrupts that we have for Puszek. And Puszek made a smart move by drafting Sylvanas. Their whole goal is to just snowball, get an early lead and snowball that with Sylvanas. If they can make that play happen, then Liquid finds himself in trouble. If Liquid can reach the mid and late game on an even level with their opponent though, then it's going to be more or less lights out for Puszek, or at least should be. So this is kind of the game plan for the two teams here, as we have the temples being fought over early in the game.
So far, I will say these blinds working very, very well for Puszek. We're seeing Tracer bouncing in and out of the fight every single time, but so far, the damage numbers on everyone except for Tauluf, who's currently just been tanking Tassadar and Tyrael, are pretty good. They're sustaining through this. However, with this many heroes, they're now in full retreat. We see the Haunting Wave coming out of Sylvanas there. She's able to get out. Numbers advantage in favor of Liquid guarantees them that middle temple, whereas top temple did almost in its entirety go over to the Puszek team.
And we
the last shot.
more or less have the game that we expected. A lot of aggression, a lot of chaotic fights here. Heroes zipping all over the place. Globals coming into play. And that was even without the Illidan. Uberine comes in. Tazada just zips around. Gets condemned though. Zico is in trouble, but he jumps out. Job well done here. We have him now with a Horaric Reforging. Cooldown reduction even to gain more mobility for him on top of that too. So yes, it is a pretty cool and aggressive game early on. No kills just yet, but the style, I enjoy that quite a bit.
Likewise here, both teams with their level 4s, both racing towards their level 7s. Bowling in a very, very aggressive position here. He wants to wait to see if anyone else comes down here or whether anyone overextends and stays too long so that he can try and catch him. But nothing happens instead, leaving Shad to clear up the wave. But some of the talents, once again, Lili continuing with that blinding wind build with the Mass Vortex, wants to hit as many heroes as possible to increase the chance of grabbing that Tracer or that Illidan. Like you said, the Horadic Reforging going to be very, very cool once that Holy Ground comes in later on.
Yeah, right now they actually just try to play as much as they can around the evasion talents that they have. Just to make sure, or like the blind talents, making sure that they get the shield flare in, that they get also, or have a very high chance of getting the blind in there too. The cleanse for Lili has now been picked on top of that, and both of the teams just trying to play with the siege giants that they've been picking up. But again, that Sylvanas can be a game changer, and I like the way that Puszek plays it. They understand completely how they need to play the game here, but Sylvanas gets blown to pieces since TeamLiquid is very well aware of the threat that she poses to the setup, to their composition, and therefore she is a priority target that this time they were able to take out.
And this is the downfall of a support like Lili, who struggled when protecting against burst damage. If Tracer does land her abilities, you are going to be having a lot of difficulties. I will say a big props to Puszek for a little bit of ability synergy they do have here. They took the Sins Exposed here. So basically, they are wanting Johanna to spam out that E as much as possible, and combining that with the Shadow Dagger from Sylvanas and of course the Blinding Wind from Lili, they're very likely to be hitting the people who are already hit by that single exposed, so they're pretty much guaranteed to get the extra damage every time. So it's a good little bit of extra burst that's going to get around the evasion from Illidan.
Yeah, and both teams have now also not only camps pushing through the top lane, but global heroes up at the top. First camp is about to be defeated, but nice timing that we're seeing for Puszek getting their own night camp up to the top lane. So Brightwing will have to stay a bit longer. Terra can always go to the bottom of the map. Falstad still finds himself in the mid lane. Doesn't really want to join the fight just yet. Shad also moving back. Diku is jumping out. Okay, job well done. Everybody at the bottom of the map right now, Brightwing included. They completely abandoned the top lane where we have the camp pushing, but the team fight is starting.
Then coming in was blinded very quickly. We're seeing a good engagement onto Sylvanas. She's not burning her Haunting Wave yet. She's being very, very patient with this, waiting for her opportunity in case she gets in real trouble. Right now, a huge amount of engagement on the point. Shad comes in. A good amount of damage is coming down here. Lili still struggling a little to keep up in terms of the healing. But overall, it's quite even, and the longer this is delayed, if they can get back control of that bot temple, top is pushing very, very nicely for Puszek.
So it was an exchange, value at the top lane, thanks to the night camp, and down to the bottom of the map we have instead the entire temple going over to TeamLiquid. A slight leading experience thanks to the 4 that just has fallen up at the top, so they have to deep push this, an earlier level 10 therefore, because as it happens there's only one shot missing to drop the 4 down here. That will more or less equalize the experience and therefore the talents that we have, but for now the heroic abilities are only ready on the side of Team Puszek, and they are trying to get a boss out of that small window of opportunity.
Devil's Head just about to be hit by TeamLiquid. They're going to commit to it. Here comes the Juggler 1000 Cups. They do now have the healing that they need. There's the Gust, and completely denied to TeamLiquid. Very nicely done by Puszek. The boss was the one that was grenaded with that Pulse Bomb, and would win. Trying to trap Goater away. He gets stunned up even with the Blessed Shield. Now Taluf will fall as well here. So it's a boss for 2 heroes here. Good timing for the window of opportunity from Puszek, but losing those 2 heroes, pretty devastating.
Yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that it was actually a bit of a problem on the side of Zico. I mean, it was a really split-second decision. So we saw the boss being dropped and then the level 10 talent roughly hitting at the same time. But it really felt like Zico was not fast enough, quick picking his talent, jumping in and using Sanctification. He could have done it before that gust hit. There was enough time for him to do that. If he does, they will claim boss here and get those kills on top of it. So a bit of a wasted opportunity. The boss is, of course, defeated quite easily since they're super early in the game, didn't scale properly yet, and losing 2 heroes made it worth, or killing 2 heroes made it totally worth for Team Liquid, but that was definitely a missed opportunity there.
While we were talking though, that force fall from Tassadar to steal that easy camp was bloody good. Very nicely done there, and as such, Siege Camp was cleared up very quickly thanks to Sylvanas, but it did once again deny it to continue to push down the lane, which currently has no fort on it. Dan taking that final shot from bot lane to finish off that bottom fort, whereas Puszek taking control of the mid lane as best as they can. The Hacker isn't there, neither is Falstaff, but both of them have globals. In comes the Jug immediately, trying to keep Sylvanas alive, and she lives.
She lives. He has the Sanctification. Tyrael is nearly dead. He was very likely to fall. Terror saves himself with a quick burrow, but Tassadar is down. There comes the quick gust. Shat needs to move away. Has his ult still up, so he can use it as an escape tool if need be. Doesn't, of course, want to do that, and you can use Fender Foe now to jump to Brightwing. So they lose the fight here as we have Tassadar blown up, and that is another temple in favor of Puszek. But we have seen earlier how fast these fights can, of course, change, and also completely just like tilt in favor of Team Liquid.
Yeah, once again, we saw just a huge global potential coming out of Puszek, able to send both Dehaka and Falstad to the fight far quicker than the bot laner for Team Liquid was able to rotate down. Now final shots going over to Puszek. They move down to the bottom temple, which Dehaka started. Sorry, Irdan took a couple shots from to grab the bottom fort. But most of the shots still available. They are pulling back though, because Falstad still has a little bit of distance to fly, and Dehaka will still have to burrow down, which does take a bit of time. So they want to make sure that the engagement is on their terms.
Yeah, and right now if you look at what we're seeing in the game, like we have 13 versus 13, and this comes back to what we've been talking about earlier. The one thing that Puszek wanted to do, ideally, even though we have that silence, of course, as a tool for them right now, is snowball it a bit earlier. And this is what Liquid understood. They were able to keep it on the same level. They're going to gain a lot of momentum as the game goes forward, since Illidan is getting stronger and stronger, so is Tracer. It's going to be very difficult, and the distance to safety gets larger or bigger, and that's the problem that they're facing right now. They're being chased here as is, and this is going to be a cleanup job. Falstad is down, great force wall. Olak is also eliminated. They're going for Shipley. Shat is on point with this, and that will be the end of Sylvanas. So Liquid doing what we were talking about at the start, keeping themselves in the game. Sylvanas not gaining the value that Puszek was hoping for, and now that we have the forts eliminated and the distance of safety just continuously increasing, a lost fight, a lost hero means that Team Liquid can immediately drive it home and nearly clean off the entire team.
Yeah, this is really looking rough for Puszek team, and I really think they should stop attempting to engage once they've already used that Jug of 1,000 Cups, because this is the only way they're surviving through the team fights. And we saw them drop it a bit earlier as Team Liquid attempted to do exactly that. They attempted to force that ability out before Brightwing even had to rotate down, and they did. So basically, they put themselves in a position where they could engage with all of their burst without the huge amount of healing, the only really real heal ability being available for Puszek team. And Puszek need to play around that a little bit better, I feel.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I feel for Puszek, the problem is that they didn't really get the value in the early game. The problem is they started off very strong where they were trying to push the walls down with Sylvanas. Team Liquid realized it, of course. They were looking at it and were saying, like, okay, if we can make it into later stages, we're going to be golden here. But if they, Puszek, get an advantage, we might be in a tricky spot. So they forced that one kill against Sylvanas, and it was huge. And now they're just all over the place. Look at this kill against Dehaka here at the top lane. Brightwing with a great Emerald Wind, isolating him, going for the interrupts there. They have level 16 right now. They are just completely playing the map at this point, and it's working very well for them. The composition that Puszek has a lot of potential. Oh, but right now it doesn't work, and that was a huge fail from Uberim. A panic gust that didn't hit anything, and that opens up a play at the boss. Talent advantage, double kill. That should be a free one.
Yeah, Uberim did give his team time to all be back to make sure that they weren't caught out in this bottom lane. But like you said, it's a free boss going over to Liquid, and just in time as well. They're able to grab this with 0 difficulty and still have time to spare before the next temple spawns, so they can rotate up and attempt to punish this top lane a bit, or at least put some pressure onto it, as it's the only tier 1 structure left. So they're going to move up there and attempt to put some damage onto it to save on shots.
Yeah, top lane now, 16, they still need that, but look how TeamLiquid is driving this home right now. The boss at the bot lane, they immediately move to the top, they're not even making a play for the keep yet, they're just saying, let's see what we can do at the top lane, maybe even kill something, and it looks like they will get a kill against Taluf. The ult is just not enough, that's the end of Johanna. 2-3 heroes at the top lane trying to help her out, which means that the boss at the bottom of the map is getting even more value. Only Terror was defending at this point. And this means not only Ford, this is also a huge lead in structural advantage, in experience. TeamLiquid is driving this at this point. 10 versus 1 kills, that alone is already telling the tale.
Yeah, this also means that there's once again no way for Puszek to engage here. They're down the jug. They don't have the healing they need to survive. They will disengage here, keeping GoTerra alive this time. But Liquid have this temple just completely for free and are able to push in due to the fact Johanna has only just come back to life. Nice dodge off the drag by Shad there. But shots being shot onto those tier 2 structures now, and there is almost nothing that Puszek can do about it, but they're still going to try. 14 seconds left until Jug, 36 until Gust. So they're taking a risk moving forward this early, but they want to try.
Safety sprint taken on the side of Lily. Now, I'm not quite sure how much value they're going to get out of this, to be honest, because once the fight is lost, Lily can run all she wants, but Tazada and Tracer, sorry, not Tazada, not Zeratul, Illidan, there we go. Illidan and Tracer will be able to catch up with her. Also, even if she survives, I don't think that helps them too much. Lily wasn't
she's not even the target.
Exactly, she wasn't the priority target the entire time. So I'm not 100% certain how much value can really be gotten from this talent choice.
Yeah, I also don't like the fact that currently Sylvanas has Spell Shield just available for its passive ability. There's the Gust, they're trying to steal the cap. Shad will capture this, the jug was favorable this time, so GoTerra is being healed up. The Holy Ground comes in to block him escaping, and with Illidan in the backline, there's going to be no escape, no survive. We do see Lily go down here. That Sprint 8 saving you from a bomb. And as such, we do see Puszek losing the fight devastatingly 3-0 in terms of kills in that fight. And TeamLiquid going to attempt to punish it.
I don't understand why Sylvanas never used her ult in that fight. She had it available the entire time and she never dropped the Wailing Arrow. That seems like a pretty big deal to me if you're in this situation. So that silence could have really helped them there to turn the fight around. I'm not saying that it would have mattered necessarily, but without using it, you're bound to lose that battle. So right now, they are going to lose the core. And this is a 2-0 victory for TeamLiquid. A great composition, very well played. They understood the risk that Sylvanas posed, shut it down in the early game, and then in the later stages, it was a clean-up job. Well done by TeamLiquid. They advanced to the next round of the HGC qualifier. Congratulations, well played.